Okay, so I'll be reading. Now we're going to go into active reading. So with active reading, the thoughts that's come into my head, I'll say that. If you are a high order thinker and you're reading to comprehend as well as on grade level, you should be having some thoughts. Also, this book should be evoking something inside of you, okay? So it's cool. Girls don't take shop. Really? Do you see any boys want to take home ec? I'm on 167. I know the subject is also closed for now. I mean, I am so emotionally like into this book right now. Kind of. The bell rings after English, and Stacy says, Daddy, finally let me get the Cream album. You want to come over today and listen? I can't, remember? No, it's different. Mother did an about face about all that. She asked me to invite you. What made it different? Stacy shrugs. I think when she met your mother at the wives' tea. I don't know what Mama did or said to change Stacy's mom's mind. I want to say yes, but I want to go when I want to go, not when Stacy's mom says I can. Today's not a good day, I tell Stacy, which is the truth. I have a lot of homework, which is kind of a lie. Sure. Sure, she asks. I nod. Yeah. I know she knows what I'm thinking because she's my best friend and can read my mind. Maybe tomorrow? She asks. Maybe. Mimi, please don't be mad at me. I'm not. Which is also kind of a lie. Okay, call me tonight, she says, and looks kind of sad. I would be lying if I said that that didn't make me kind of happy. Now she's feeling, she wants people to feel the way that she's feeling. Moon viewing. I'm trying hard not to believe the kids in science class are ignoring me while I present my project. They are so rude. Do you guys understand why you shouldn't be treating people this way? I hope this book makes you now realize all the teasing, all the things that you do in class should not be going on in class, nowhere in the building, because that's supposed to be the safest place that you are other than other than your home. And so now you can see from somebody else's point of view how children make them feel when they're teasing them about certain things that they cannot control, because she can't control that her parents met in Tokyo and one was Japanese and the other one was black. Okay? Moon viewing. I'm trying hard not to believe that kids in science class are ignoring me while I present my project. I try to ignore. And Marie jiggling her foot and picking at her cuticles. Bruce yawning and stretching his mouth as wide as his arms. He's jealous, okay? All of them. David getting out of his seat and opening the window. Where's the teacher? Because you know I would not let nobody get up in my classroom while somebody's presenting. Just when I ask if anyone would like to look through the holes and see the phases of the moon. Everyone, pay attention, Mrs. Stanton says, then asks, may I look? I'm trying hard to smile in front of the class without breaking apart, and I pretend I don't see. When Mrs. Stanton gazes at the moon, unaware, the kids are making squint eyes at me. The A group. Only 10 science projects can go into the A group. They will be judged for first, second, and third prizes in the science groove. That's because I know this thing's supposed to be called a science fair, and it's so hard, by college students who are studying the same topics and by Mr. Donovan, the school superintendent, who invented a spray that makes your hair smell clean. And guess which project made it into the A group? Guess. Someone wasn't ignoring me on Tuesday when I presented my project. Thank you, Mrs. Stanton, for the A group and the A+. Best friends always. I'm not mad at Stacy anymore, and I hope she isn't mad at me as I dial her number tonight. I'm sorry, I say, and right away she says, I'm sorry too. Best friends? Always, I say, feeling lighter now that my anger has disappeared. Do you want to come over on Saturday and get ready for the dance together? She asks. My heart still has a little bruise where her mom didn't want me at her house. So I ask, can you come here instead? It's really okay, Mimi, she says. Please, I ask. And when she comes back to the phone and asks, what time? The bruise heals a little more. Dress, hair, and makeup. Because remember, she was saying, okay, well, this girl couldn't come to her house and she couldn't come to the girl's house. But at first she was saying that she could only have friends visit her at her house. And it was like one-sided. So I'm glad it's opening up for her. Dress, hair, and makeup. Auntie and I used to watch Shindig and Hula Bulu, and sometimes Dick Clark and dance. She let me wear her white lipstick and her go-go boots as we did the pony. Tonight is my first real dance. School calls it spring fling, but everyone else calls it spring thing. Stacy came home with me after school. Mama made tempura because she knows people like tempura. And meatloaf in case Stacy didn't like tempura. We had rice and Mama asked if she wanted potatoes. Stacy smiled and said, we eat rice in Georgia too. Now we go up to my room. I open the windows because the warm May air puts me in the mood for getting ready for my first dance. Stacy's dress is made of dotted Swiss. It has a white bodice and a violet skirt with a thin white ribbon and a tiny flower at the waist. She got it at a store called Von Witt Teller in Boston. Her hair is in big curlers all around her head. And when she puts mascara on her eyelashes, her mouth opens the way mine does when I look at the moon and stars. Mama made my dress from the robin's egg blue silk that Auntie Sachi sent her from a kimono. But Mama said she'd rather make a dress she can see on me than a kimono she can see on herself, only in a mirror. She said, besides, finding a gufukoya here to make a kimono is like finding snow in Honolulu. Your mother is so talented, Stacy says, running her fingers through a pleat in my dress. Does she make all your clothes? Most of them, I say, feeling guilty that I wish my dress had come from Von Witt Teller. Now Stacy's doing my makeup. Not too much, Mama had told me yesterday. You're beautiful enough already. My skin is too dark to wear Stacy's liquid foundation, but she pats blusher on my cheeks and smooths Vaseline on my lower lip with her pinky. Go like this, she says, pressing her lips together. And when she stands close to me to draw on my eyelids, her breath smells like toothpaste and tempura shrimp. Now your hair. Let's make it loose. No, Mama likes it pulled back tight. She won't mind just for tonight, Stacy says, then undoes my braid and combs my hair with her fingers. She rubs a dab of goop in her hands and runs them through my hair again and says, now your curls are making themselves known. She clips the sides together at the back of my head. What do you think? She asks as we stand side by side in the mirror. I'm afraid to love what I see, afraid it will be too vain to think the girl with the blue dress and shiny lips and hair curling around her shoulders is pretty. So I say, you are so talented. We go downstairs and Papa takes pictures of us together and separately. Mama holds out her wedding pearls and tells me to turn around. They are cold on my neck, and I feel like I've just grown up 5 years. The boys won't have a chance around you girls, Papa says, and Stacy and I look at each other and say, ooh. But I know what the boys think of Stacy and how they're afraid to talk to her because she's so pretty and has an accent as fragrant as lilacs. We put on our shoes at the door, and Papa presses a dime into my palm, just in case you need to call. He says, I don't understand because he's picking me up after the dance. When we drive past Mr. Dale's house, I wish Timothy were here to see me all dressed up for my first dance. Spring thing. When we go into the gym, the band is playing The Mighty Quinn so loud that we have to shout in each other's ears. The drums beat from my soles to my chest. I am so excited or nervous that giggles go down my throat, and I feel like something brand new is going to happen tonight. There are streamers along the walls, and the lights are dim, but everything, earrings, barrettes, and even buttons on the boys' shirts glitters. The air smells like roses and taboo and canoe and right guard spray. Girls with ribbons in their hair are talking to girls with flower earrings and boys who scratch their necks. Somewhere beyond that wall of kids, people must be dancing. Stacy starts to move her arms and legs, and I dance with her. Hey, you're good, she shouts in my ear, and I smile. It's because of Auntie Sachi and Dick Clark. A few seconds later, a tall boy in 8th grade taps her on the shoulder. She twists around, and he says something in her ear. She nods. Be right back, she says to me, and they go through the wall of kids. The band switches to Love Is All Around, so they must be slow dancing. I turn around looking at the girls and boys talking, hoping someone would see me and smile and wave me in their group, but no one does. At the refreshment table, I get a tab and back up to the wall near the girls' room and smile at people. Some smile back, but they all have something important to do. I finish my tab and turn to put the can in the trash when someone bumps me, knocking me against the table and moves on. The kids behind the refreshment table doesn't seem to notice what happened to me, but they see the tipped over cans and bottles and quickly line them up again. The band is playing Girl Watcher. I am not that girl. I'm like that part of the moon that the crescent curls around, in shadow, invisible, deep in my pocket. I find the dime Papa gave me. Science groove. School will be over in 2 weeks, but we still have lots to do before then. Today, we brought our science projects to school for the science groove. Papa carried my moon box, and I carried my poster and report, and the flashlight, and extra batteries to the gym, where my long tables were set up to hold the displays. Tonight, the teachers and parents and families and anyone else will come to the gym. Look at the projects and ask questions. Mrs. Stanton said there isn't much to do in Hillsboro, so everyone in town comes to Science Groove. Tomorrow, the judges will look at the Group A and B projects and read our reports and ask us questions. Papa said my project is in a good spot at the end of the table where you can see it from the entrance of the gym to the gym. People are coming by and looking through the holes at the moon and asking questions like, why did you do this project? And do you like the moon? And what nationality are you? That has nothing to do with her project. But mostly they ask about my project. The big difference between Group A and Group B is that Group A wins the awards. David, who made the watermill in woodshop, is next to me. He's in Group B. But thinks he should be in A, and has told me many times tonight in many different ways, like, how is a box with holes better than a watermill? Your father made that, right? I'd be in Group A if you didn't move here, and people should stay with their own kind. It's funny how other people get to decide when I'm invisible, but I can't make them disappear. So I turn around and pretend to straighten my poster when someone behind me says, well, that's a good-looking box. Did you make that all by yourself? I nod and turn around to see Mr. Dale. My heart thumps at the surprise of seeing him at school until I remember the science groove is public. Hello, I say carefully. he says with a loud nod and walks down the aisle. No words. Who took the moon out of my moon box and why? Would anyone do that? I have no words left. They've drifted away into the vast expanding loneliness of space, but I still have lots of tears. I am so irritated, and I stopped on page 186.